Welcome to Hike Over the Hill. I'm Jedi, coming to you from the thriving metropolis of Rochester, New York. As always, I have the windows open out here because it got a little stuffy. The sun came out, so if you hear noises, that's what it is. It's time for food talk. Yes, food talk. I'm going to go through my meals for my first week, actually my first 8 days on the trail. I'm starting Sunday, April 3rd. My first time getting a resupply will be Sunday, April 10th. So I need food for Sunday, or at least lunch and dinner for Sunday. And then I need meals all the way through the following Sunday, probably Sunday breakfast. And then hopefully I can get to the trailhead and get picked up and get to the hostel so that I can clean up and eat. So this is all my food for 8 days. Now, I don't know what you think when you see this. If you think, holy crap, that's a lot of food. Or if you think, that's it for 8 days? You're going to live on that? Honestly, this is more food than I need for two reasons. Number one, I'm going to be passing two what they call waysides in Shenandoah National Park. A wayside is a place where it's got a restaurant and usually a lodge, maybe some camping sites. They have a little general store where you can buy some supplies, and they cater to hikers sometimes. They know that hikers are going to be coming through because the Appalachian Trail goes right by or very close to these waysides. So I could, if I knew what those places were going to have, I could take probably half this amount of food, to be honest with you. But I didn't want to chance it because I'm vegetarian and I don't know. The waysides are just opening. One of them just opened at the end of, actually I think it opens today, or maybe it opened last week. And another one opens like 2 days before I get there. So I don't know how well stocked they'll be. I don't know what they're going to have. I'll be one of the first hikers to probably pass through one of those waysides. And I just don't want to take a chance at getting there and all they have is like tuna fish and crap I can't eat and saltines and just ugh. So I thought, let me just bring the food that I know I'm going to like. So let me go through this real quick. These are all snack baggies that have been filled with a little packet of nut butter. I have peanut butter, I have cashew butter, and I have almond butter. And then there are, I think, 12 Triscuits in there as well. So that's usually like my lunch, okay? Triscuit with some nut butter, that's my lunch. I call it my lunch. It's really my second snack of the day. When I'm backpacking, usually what I do is I have breakfast, and then on the trail I'll have two little snacks. So call one lunch and call one a snack, I don't know, or two lunches, whatever you want to call it. Then I'll have dinner, of course, in camp. So this will be like my lunch or one of my snacks. Here we have the same little snack baggies filled with homemade trail mix. I make it myself. I took a mix of gourmet or deluxe mixed nuts and some dark chocolate M&Ms. I like the dark chocolate M&Ms. Some banana chips and some dried pineapple. Those are really the only two fruits I really like dried. I'll eat other ones. I'll eat dried apricots. I'll eat dried mango. That's not bad sometimes. But I really like the bananas because they're crunchy. And the pineapple just has a good, I don't know, good flavor. It's not too sweet. It's not too chewy and gummy. Then there's also some pumpkin seeds in here. And I added some pistachios. And I measured them all out. I believe each of these weighs, I want to say 4 ounces. So a quarter pound there. And this one, they're pretty similar. This is probably a little less, maybe 3.5 ounces. Next up is, these are my dinners. I'm not going in order here, sorry. These are my dinners. These are in quart-sized bags. And they're all labeled. That one says taco, homemade. And what I'll do is I'll dump this into my cold soaking container that I've shown you in other videos and then throw the boiling water in there. Or if it's a hot day and I don't feel like eating something hot, I'll cold soak it. That just means putting in cold water and letting it soak for a longer period of time, usually a couple of hours. And there's another meal, classic marinara with pasta. They're labeled. I will save these baggies when I'm done because when my wife sends me my next batch of dinners, she's just sending me dinners. All this other stuff I'm going to have to resupply on the trail. So this stuff here she's sending me, but she's sending it to me in those vacuum sealed bags. And those are not good in your backpack. They're stiff. They're a little bit heavier. They're harder to pack. Anyway, they're not resealable. So I will dump them into these. These labels just pull off. It's just a sticker. And I will put the new meal in. So I will reuse these bags as many times as I can until they either get nasty or they break. Okay, next up we have, up here, my electrolyte drink, or I should say my energy drink. These are 4C and I talked about these before. You get these in the grocery store. I don't drink coffee or tea. I don't want to deal with a stove in the morning. I just want to get on the trail. So I dump this into a quart or a liter of water, one of these pouches, and I just sip that all morning while I'm packing up. And I will nibble on one of these for breakfast. So these are just various protein bars. I've got 3 different kind in here. I got a date energy bar. I've got a chocolate sea salt IQ bar, 12 grams of protein. That's pretty good. And I got an RX bar, plant protein, 10 grams of protein. So I'll nibble on that while I'm packing up camp. I'm not a big breakfast person. I'm usually not that hungry in the morning, especially after I had a big dinner the night before. So, but I just want a little something to let my stomach work on and give me a little bit of energy, give me some calories and some protein and carbs, and nibble on that while I'm getting ready. So very, very quick and easy. No cleanup. You know, you're eating a bar. You just put the wrapper in your trash bag and you're done. Then I have Fritos, which I have crushed up a little bit. Looks like I crushed up some of them a little too much. It's got Frito powder there, Frito crumbs. But I love crunch because these backpacking meals, they're mushy, right? It's just soups and chilies and macks and cheeses and pastas. And after a while, you're just like, oh, it's another bowl of warm slop. So I love some Fritos for some crunch. And then I'll just take these and sprinkle them in. Ideally, I would like to use the big king-size scoop Fritos and scoop and eat my meal with a Frito, you know, and eat the Frito and take another Frito and do it like that. But they don't travel well when they're full size. So I crush them up a little bit so they fit into a bag easier if they're smaller. And I'll just sprinkle those into the meal and eat it and get a little crunch in there. Or I'll just have a handful after I eat, just satisfy that urge I have to crunch. And this is flatbread. It's like wrap bread that I've cut into little squares, you know, 2 inches by 2 inches or something. High protein, and I will use this to wipe out my container that I'm eating out of, my eating vessel, and also which is also my cold soaking vessel. So it's what I'm rehydrating my food in. Once I'm done eating, I scrape out the whole thing, but then there's always residue left. Take a little square of this and use it like a little sponge or like a little paper towel. Wipe off the inside of my container, eat it. And then do it with another one. Use 2 or 3 or 4 of these and clean out my container that way. And then here's my spoon, titanium spoon. I think this weighs 9 grams. I could be wrong. I think it's 8 or 9 grams. Anyway, long handled, get down to the bottom of that container so I can scrape out every last morsel. And then my Ursack, which I've talked about before, I've added a Nylofume liner. I've used the smelly bags, the large size smelly bags that have like a Ziploc top on them. But those are kind of stiff, and that Ziploc fails a lot. If you read the reviews, people say, oh, this failed after a week. In fact, we met some Girl Scouts when we were doing our last section hike of the AT last June of 2021. And they were complaining that their smelly bags, or their OpSack, I guess the OpSack, maybe it's not the smelly bag that fails, the OpSack, I think it's called Locksack, the OpSack, Locksack. Anyway, if you're a backpacker, you know what I'm talking about. I guess those seals fail very frequently, and then you have nothing to close the bag with. And the whole idea is to keep the smells in. So the bears and other critters they're not attracted to your Ursack in my case, or your whatever bear bag you're using. They're not attracted in the first place because they can't smell it, or they can't smell it as easily. It reduces the odor radius, I think is what they call it. So, your odors aren't flying out, forever through the woods. Fewer molecules are getting out, and so the smell dissipates quicker. So the animal has to be passing fairly closely by to be able to smell. That's the idea anyway. So this is a Nylofume bag. It's called Nylofume because these are bags that they give you if you're having your house fumigated. So you put things in that you don't want to get affected by your fumigation, either food in your fridge or like your makeup and toiletry items and things. You don't want to have to take everything out of every drawer and every shelf, every cabinet in your house. You just throw them all in these bags and leave them where they are so that you can just take them out again and put them back where they were. And this prevents the fumigation from getting to your, whatever items that you're trying to protect. So people said, hey, if it keeps the fumes out, maybe it will also keep the fumes in, right? So backpackers are always looking for things that they can reuse and repurpose in different ways. So the one downside of this, super crinkly, super noisy, yeesh. So that'll wake everybody up in camp if they're not already awake. It's also super big. I'm going to have to roll the top down and then cinch it up, and I'll shoot another video. In fact, you know what? I'm going to pause this, and it'll be a quick edit, and then I'll show you. I'll put all the stuff back in here, and I'll show you how I seal this up. So here I come, ready, set, and I'm back. So I've got all my food in my Ursack, and now I'm going to seal it up. Now first I'll show you, I have a carabiner clip here. Against my better judgment, I decided to put on the locking, the combination lock carabiner clip. This actually has a little combination lock, a 3-number lock, and once I turn the dials, it won't open anymore. This is heavy, it's way too heavy for what it's worth, but I wanted to have a locking carabiner because there may be times when I need to, or I want to, lock my backpack to something. I have to leave it outside a store, or some of the hostels have like a little storage box with a clasp on it, and you can lock your pack or whatever you want inside there if you need to go into town for a few hours to buy stuff and just keep your stuff safe. So I thought, let me bring the locking carabiner just for the heck of it. So anyway, so I've got all my food in here. So the idea is you've got to seal it off because you don't want the bears and other critters to smell. So this is going to be noisy. So I'll say what I'm going to say, then I'll just do it. I'm going to roll it up, and then I'm going to secure it with this shock cord. It's a springy shock cord with a little cord lock on it, okay? I haven't figured out the best way to do this, so I may change the way I approach this. So it's going to be noisy, so here I go. Okay, enough of that. So now I've got this, and I was thinking about I've rolled it up, putting those two together, and then maybe doing it again like this, and then just bunching it up and putting this shock cord on it, and then just pulling it tight with that cord lock to keep it closed, and like that, just bunched up there. Some people twist it, and then fold it over on itself. You twist it like a rope, fold it over on itself, and then do the shock cord. But I worry about it putting a lot of stress on that nylon bag and maybe tearing it or weakening it somehow. So I thought if I just roll the top down and then kind of fold the ends together and do this. Anyway, that's kind of what I came up with. I may come up with a better way to do it in the field. But you can see that amount of food, that was 8 days of food. I mean, it's up to here, okay? And I still have to put my smellies in here at night, including my cold soak container, that plastic container you've seen before, and my smellies, like my toothpaste and toothbrush and my pills, my first aid kit, anything that has scent in it. So that's a lot of stuff to fit in here. This is billed to fit 7 days of food for one person. The amount of food that I showed you here, even though that's more than I need for 8 days, that would not be enough for 8 days once I get the hiker hunger and once I really start putting in some miles. That would probably be 4 days of food. So the good thing about the AT is you typically are within 3 to 5 days of the next town. So you can resupply fairly often. It's time consuming to do that. I don't want to have to do that. I'd rather go 6, 7 days, 8 days if I can to the next town. But I just have to play it by ear. Sometimes I'm going to have to resupply because there's a town 3 days away, but then the next town past that is 10 days away. And I can't carry 13 days of food in here. So anyway, that's how that all works. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.